Welcome to the ANPS channel, student. Welcome to the part 3 of Early Kingdom. Today, I will discuss the society and the Varna system as well as Magadha Empire and Vajji Empire. Related few interesting things. Okay, but before moving into the last part, I have to recapitulate few things from Janapadas that we have seen what is basically Janapada means. Jana means people and Pada means behold foot or foot in a proper place. Okay, so that means particular area like Purana Killa, Hastinapur, Ajanta Kira. Okay, that particular place's civilization started on that era. And from the Jataka tales, we already been found that particular story or fact. Now what is Mahajanapada? The Mahajanapada is kind of a territory which gained more power to lead to the evolution into from the Janapada. Okay, there are 16 Mahajanapada. We have already seen in a map portion. This the 16 Mahajanapada: Kamboj, Gandharya, Matsya, Avanti, Chaitya, Shurudva, Kuru, Panchala, Khosla, Malla, Vatsa, Magadha, Kashi, Riji, Anga, okay, and Ashaka. They are the 16 Mahajanapada, and also Vajji are there, okay, Vajji are also there. So, go on to the topic here. We have already seen how on that particular timing, why also King Alexander from Macedonia, they also have fear from that particular Mahajanapada, because on that particular time we have seen that Raja Maharaja and the particular monarchy belongs from the Patliputra, they are so much powerful. Okay? And the next we have seen how republic and monarchy are different. Okay? We have seen one is have the hereditary king, which is monarchy, and one is the representative elected by the normal people. Okay, now the present days, and it have like confederacy like a Vajji. We have seen the taxation system, which types of people and coming from which class they have to pay the taxes. From here we have seen hunter-gatherers, headers, craft persons, traders and farmers. They have to pay one person, which is Mahajanapada, belongs from Raja or royalty. Okay. We have seen the changes in agriculture. First of all, they are used primitive tools, but whenever they feel like no, we have to develop our agricultural work, then they are supposed to using the iron plow as well as transplantation thing, also taking a great place. Transplantation also taking a great place, right? Now move on to the trade system as well as the township area. We have seen in Magadha Empire, when Bimbisar, the prosperous king, was there, near 544 BC to 492 BC, we have seen that particular, he used to believe development should take place when we develop the transport communication through the trade purpose. Okay? And also some in that particular period, some towns during that period were very prosperous: Ujjain, Vaishali, Ayodhya, Kaushambi and Champa. Now, for part 3, the important section is society and Varna system. Nowadays, it's laid a great place in our society also. Have a look from here. The society was divided into Varnas or caste. The Vedic book composed by priests during Vedic period mentions caste system, and what means there were 4 Varnas. First, we have already knew that Brahmins, then is Kshatriya, then is Vaishya, then is Shudra. Okay, you can see the hierarchy already given in your book. So, basically from that particular place, in Varna system, in short, a Brahmin child was a Brahmin and would perform work of his family. Similarly, Shudra's child would do work of what their inheritance and done by them. Brahmins were given the job of teachers, priests. They were expected to study, teach the Vedas and perform sacrifice rituals, etc. Okay, so move on to the Kshatriya part, means Brahmin parts, it's up to that. Brahmins were of the highest caste and they were the priest and scholar. Okay, in mythology and in a mythical fact, there are people used to believe that in Vishnu, Lord Vishnu's or Lord Brahma's head represent basically Brahmana. Okay, now move on to the Kshatriya section. Move on to the Kshatriya section. From here also Kshatriya were the warrior class, fought for their kingdom. We have seen. So basically you have seen from that particular area, Kshatriyas are there like royalty, okay, Raja, Maharaja and monarchy related persons, okay. They are basically belongs from the soldier community as well as the Kshatriya. So they were warrior class and fought for their kingdoms, okay. And mythical facts also used to believe in Brahma, Lord Brahma's two hands represent Kshatriya's power. Okay, now move on to Vaishya. Vaishyas were traders and agricultures or farmers. Okay, so Vaishyas basically the people used to believe, and also sometimes we have seen that it's true fact, like Vaishyas were merchants and professionals. As per mythological fact, Lord Brahma's thighs, okay, that represent the trading systems and communication system. So for that, what the trading system done by them, who basically done by the trading system and transport communication system, traders, merchants. So specifically from that this coming from. Okay, now the last in this hierarchy is Shudra. Okay, so from here Shudra did menial task and serve upper classes, three castes, and Vedas could be only by the upper three varnas, as Shudras were they treated untouchable and people belong to the upper three varnas were allowed to enter temples and chant mantras, and varna system became rigid during the period of caste decline of Shudras. That upper three section basically feel that Shudra is untouchable because he or she, particularly those belongs to that community, they are kind of serve upper three sections, and on that particular time we have seen also they are not allowed to chant mantras in a mandir also. And in a mythological fact, it's also in there, Lord Brahma's feet represented Shudras. Okay. So move on to the next part, which is many people disagree the system of Varna led down by Brahmins, while some things got that were superior priests and other felt that the Varna of a person could not decide it on the basis of birth alone. Means people used to think that by birth privilege basically taking by the nobility, right? The two community. One is Brahmins, and second is Kshatriya. Okay, we have seen particularly from that. So apart from this, we have seen some people felt that it should no difference among the people based on occupation, and some others condemn practice untouchability, and also there were many areas, subcontinents like Northeast, where the social and economic difference were not sharp and where the influence of priest was limited. Like whenever that from the upper hierarchy, whenever the upper three section feel they are superior, and specifically the higher caste Brahmins feel it's superior, it's become a kind of a rigid. So aftermath of that, some people felt that there should be no difference among the people based on occupation. So on the other hand, many subcontinent feel like that northeastern, whereas the social economic difference not very sharp, where the influence of the priest was limited on that time. Now move on to the next Mahajanpada is Magad. Magad was a superior emperor. Name is Bimbisara, Ajatasattu, and also Mahapadyananda. Okay, I just want to refer most powerful and prosperous things from that Mahajanapada. Magada became most prominent Mahajanapada. Magad was monarchy as it was ruled by monarch who enjoyed a tremendous power. It was powerful Mahajanpada because of the following reason. First reason is geographical features. Okay, it had an advantage of geographical position. Rajgriha and old Rajagriha. Okay, Rajagriha, the old capital, surrounded by hills from all sides of new capital, and Patliputra, Patna, now at present, was along the river of Ganga. The hills of rivers served as a natural barrier to protect from the other countries as well as other trespassers, and the capital or from the foreign attacks. Okay, you can see it from here also. That Magad. Okay, that particular area. I just want to say that geographical position is so high and so kind of proper. That's why other sides of area and foreign attackers hardly think to attack that particular area. Okay, move on to the next, which is the Magad was situated in Gangetic plain. Yes, we have seen lower course at Ganga. It's situated. It was fertile and had water for agriculture. These two features made the empire prosperous, and Magadha had rich forests that provided timber which was used for building chariots, building and boats. There were also large numbers of elephants living in the forest, and that were trained, used in that era as an army. It was a rich iron ore place or mine which was used to make tools. It also enjoyed good trade relation with neighbors. Profits from trade, revenue and agriculture and other occasions made Magadha prosperous. Magad had powerful monarchies such as Bimbisara, Ajatasattu and Mahapadyananda, who waged wars compared to Janapadas. I want to show you here, from here. You already had seen how Bimbisara looked like. Ajatasattu before 461 BCE. Okay. Now the next is Mahapadyananda. He is also before 364 BCE. These three are the prosperous king. Okay. Bimbisara's son names Ajatasattu's son names Mahapadyananda. Okay. So as per their inheritance, okay, and they ruled particularly on that area, and that particular three monarchy feel that if we have to develop our Mahajanapad, we have to develop the area, we have to develop the whole dynasty, then we have to work on the transport communication as well as army. Now Mahapadyananda was great ruler. Beyond from that, apart from the Ajatasattu, apart from Bimbisara and apart from Ajatasattu, Mahapadyananda was a great emperor of particular that time. He ruled, who extended his kingdom to the northwest of the part of subcontinent. Okay, northwest part of subcontinent. So you can see basically he extended northwest part of the subcontinent. Okay, northwest means he up to stretch his boundary from that area. Mahapadyananda, only Mahapadyananda. Only this person done this. Okay. So we have got Now move on to Bhajji, which is a great prosperous empire on particular that time. During the same time of when Magadha became a powerful kingdom, Bhajji also surrounded and also the different form of government, and it was a capital of Vaishali. At present it's in Bihar. It was governed by Ganas and Shanghas. Gana and Shangha was a group of rulers on that area. These rulers were known as Rajas. After that they referring themselves as a Raja, and they had assemblies, took decisions through the discussion and the debates, and however women and the Shahs were not part of this. They used to believe women and Shudras on particular. They are calling Dashas, okay. They are not part any of that particular rituals or assemblies regarding administrative work. Buddha and Mahavira belong to the Ganas and Shanghas community. These Ganas and Shanghas lasted from many years despite several attempts by powerful king to conquer them. Okay, basically Buddhadev, we have also referred. He came from Ganas and Shanghas community. Okay, so from the last part of the early kingdom, we have got the most prosperous thing from that, or most proper things from that chapter, when the society accept the Varna system, and nowadays how it not rigid. And Magadha Empire, we have seen also three prosperous king of Magadha Empire, Bimbisar, Ajatasattu, as well as Mahapadyananda. And then we have got Magadha Empire some proper things, why on that particular timing, and all over 16 Mahajanapadas, why it becomes so powerful. Okay, and we have also seen that only Mahapadyananda from Magadha Empire, he just extended from his dynasty in north western part. Okay, if we make cardinal points, then we can easily say that north-western part in India, okay, only Mahapadyananda situated, or Mahapadyananda extended that part in their dynasty. And we have also got Bhajji. Now where Bhajji is related, okay, and Buddhadev and Mahavira, those who are related to Bodhi Dharma and Jain Dharma, they basically came from, in which community? Ganas and Sanghas. Okay, so up to that it's okay. Now stay safe children, see you soon with another video. Thank you.